Ready to dive into some ancient humor? We're going way back to ancient Greece.
Oh, back.
To explore the world Epicharmus of Kos.
A comedic pioneer, making people laugh centuries ago.
Centuries ago, could you imagine? I mean, this is before sitcoms, before stand-up.
Oh, yeah, Epicharmus is considered a forefather of comedy.
Wow.
Plato himself, even, praised his comedic genius.
Plato, endorsing a comedian. That's incredible. It makes you wonder, what was so special about this Epicharmus?
Well, he wasn't just a funny man.
Okay.
He also had this deep interest in philosophy, in medicine, a real Renaissance man, but, before the Renaissance.
A philosopher-comedian, huh?
Exactly.
I'm intrigued. Let's start with the basics. Where did this comedic genius come from?
Well, that's part of the mystery surrounding Epicharmus. There's debate over where he was actually born.
Oh.
Was it Syracuse, the Sicilian city of Crastos, or the island of Kos? We may never know for sure.
A comedian with a mysterious past. I'm sensing a pattern here.
Right.
But we do know he eventually ended up in Syracuse.
He did.
And that was a major cultural hub in ancient Greece. Right?
Oh, absolutely. Picture Syracuse, this bustling hub of art, philosophy, intellectual exchange. The perfect setting for someone like Epicharmus to hone his craft.
So we've got Epicharmus in Syracuse.
Yes.
But here's where things get really interesting for me, right? So picture this. Young Epicharmus is learning about medicine and healing from his physician father.
Okay.
But then he encounters the teachings of Pythagoras, the mathematician, the philosopher.
It's a fascinating contrast, isn't it?
Absolutely.
This blend of scientific curiosity, this philosophical inquiry. You can almost imagine how that might have shaped his worldview.
So see, this is what I love about these deep dives.
Yeah.
You start to see these unexpected connections, these glimpses into the past that they just make you think about things in a whole new way.
Absolutely. And those connections, they're actually key to understanding Epicharmus' comedy.
Okay, how so?
He didn't shy away from anything. In his plays, he tackled a wide range of topics, poking fun at everyday life, delving into mythology, grappling even with these big philosophical questions.
He's making people laugh, but he's also making them think.
Exactly.
I love that. There's this one idea of his that really stood out to me, his belief that virtue could be cultivated, that you could even overcome your heredity.
Right.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit? It feels incredibly relevant, even today.
Yeah, and it's an idea that really resonates throughout history. Imagine this is a time when people really believed your lineage determined your character.
Yeah.
And Epicharmus is suggesting that you could actively choose to be a better person.
Wow. Challenging the very foundation of how people viewed themselves.
Precisely.
And their potential.
And that, I think, is the mark of a true comedic genius.
Okay.
To not just entertain, but to spark this introspection, to make us question our own assumptions.
And to think he was doing all of this centuries ago.
Exactly.
That blows my mind. So we've got this philosopher-comedian unafraid to challenge conventions.
Yes.
But what did his work actually look like? I mean, what can you tell us about the plays themselves?
Sadly, a lot of his plays are lost to time. Only these fragments and titles remain.
Oh, no.
But those fragments, they offer a glimpse into his comedic style. They really do. It's like you find these hilarious punchlines, but we don't know the setup.
Exactly. So frustrating. Do we at least have an idea what these plays were about?
We do. Some of the titles have survived, and even a few lines here and there.
Okay, give us a taste.
Okay, for instance, there's Agristinos. Which seems to be this lighthearted take on rural life.
Okay.
Imagine a city slicker trying to navigate farm life. You can almost hear the jokes about chickens and early mornings.
I can see it. It's amazing how some comedic themes are timeless, right? Like fish out of water stories, they always get a laugh.
They really do.
What else? What other titles do we have?
Then there's Hebe's Gamos, The Marriage of Hebe. This one features a rather gluttonous Hercules.
Hold on. A gluttonous Hercules.
Yeah.
The Greek hero known for his strength.
Oh.
That's unexpected.
Right. Epicharmus, he wasn't afraid to poke fun at even the most revered figures of mythology.
So no hero was safe from his wit. That's kind of bold for that time, don't you think?
It was. And we even have a fragment from a play titled Odysseus Otomelos, Ulysses the Deserter.
Wait, he portrayed Odysseus, the hero of Homer's epic, as a deserter.
He did.
Wow, that takes guts.
It really does. And it reveals, I think, this whole deeper layer to Epicharmus's humor, right?
Definitely.
He wasn't just going for cheap laughs. He's using satire here to challenge these traditional narratives,
Right.
to make audiences really question their heroes and their assumptions about the world.
That's what I find so fascinating about studying comedy. It's often a reflection of the times,
Yeah.
a way to process these social and cultural anxieties.
Absolutely.
It makes you wonder how audiences reacted to this kind of humor back then.
It does. And from what we can gather, Epicharmus, he was incredibly popular. He really struck a chord with people.
I mean, it makes sense. Comedy, it can be a powerful tool for social commentary,
It really can.
a way to address uncomfortable truths, to spark conversations that might otherwise be difficult to have.
Right.
So Epicharmus is pushing boundaries with his humor, making people laugh, but also encouraging them to think critically.
Exactly. And that combination, right, of humor and intellectual depth, well, it's evident in the fact that some scholars even suggest that Plato himself might have been influenced by Epicharmus.
Wait, are you serious? Plato, the philosopher who wrote those incredibly dense dialogues, was inspired by a comedian.
Yeah, it's a claim made by a scholar named Alchemist. He argued that some of Plato's ideas, well, they might have originated with Epicharmus.
Wow. So even centuries ago, you had those great minds think alike moments happening.
Right.
But, whether or not Plato actually borrowed ideas, the fact that they're even mentioned together says a lot about Epicharmus's legacy.
It really does.
It's just a shame so much of his work is lost.
It is. But even those bits and pieces we do have, they offer this fascinating glimpse into his genius.
Yeah.
And thankfully, his impact wasn't just felt in the realm of ideas.
Oh, what do you mean?
In Syracuse, there's actually a bronze statue erected in his honor,
Wow.
with an inscription by the poet Theocritus, praising Epicharmus's wisdom, his contributions to comedy.
A bronze statue. That's incredible. Talk about leaving your mark on history. That's like the ancient Greek equivalent of a Hollywood Walk of Fame star. It's clear Epicharmus was more than just a comedian. He was a cultural icon.
Absolutely. And what I find most compelling about him, I mean, aside from the statue, are these little nuggets of wisdom that are just sprinkled throughout his work.
Oh, like what?
Like this quote, "Don't forget to exercise incredulity, for it is the sinews of the soul."
He said that.
He did. He was basically advocating for critical thinking centuries before it was a trending topic.
It's incredible how relevant that still is today, though, right?
Yeah.
Especially in our age of information overload. I mean, we are constantly bombarded with news, opinions. It's so easy to just accept things at face value.
It is.
And Epicharmus is reminding us to question, to dig deeper, to really engage our minds.
Precisely. He understood that true wisdom comes from questioning, from looking beyond the surface. And that's something we could all use a little more of today.
I love that. It really makes you wonder, if Epicharmus were alive today, what would he be satirizing? What would he find funny or absurd or thought-provoking about our modern world?
It's an intriguing thought experiment, isn't it? Would he poke fun at our obsession with social media, our polarized political landscape, or maybe the sheer volume of cat videos on the internet?
It's safe to say, I think, nothing would be off limits. He might even have a field day with those self-driving cars.
He probably would. But in all seriousness, I think what makes Epicharmus so fascinating is that he reminds us of the power of humor to make us think.
That's a good point.
He challenged conventions, he made people laugh, and he left them pondering life's big questions. And that's a legacy worth celebrating.
Absolutely. He shows us that comedy can be more than just entertainment. It can be a powerful tool for social commentary, for philosophical exploration, even for self-improvement. So the next time you encounter a piece of art, anything really, that makes you laugh and think at the same time, remember Epicharmus of Kos, the philosopher-comedian who proved that sometimes the best way to understand the world is to find the humor in it.